Hurricane George made landfall near Biloxi, Mississippi early Monday morning. It has since been downgraded to a tropical storm, but it is moving at a snail's pace. Now George is dumping copious amounts of rainfall on the region and brings the threat of severe local storms, in other words, tornado activity with thunderstorm cells with George. Torrential rain and a strong storm surge combined to produce significant flooding here in Mobile, Alabama. Some areas are seeing more than 2 feet of rain. Local officials are warning people to avoid travel in the area because of flooded roads, downed trees, and power lines. Good morning. Welcome to this special edition of Weather Center. I'm Rick Griffin, and we'll be joining Dr. Steve Lyons for his analysis on where George goes next in just a moment. First, this updates you on the position of George, and I'm just going to read to you the latest coordinates. This is the 4 a.m. Central Daylight Time update, and I'll read you the latest location, which is now 30.8 north, 88.1 west, or near Mobile, Alabama. George is moving towards the east-northeast at 8, and a slow east-northeast progress motion is expected to continue today. The pressure, 993 millibars. Storm surge flooding and waves will continue to decrease along the coast, although with rainfall, an additional 8 to 15 inches are possible in association with George. How about the watches and warnings? Well, it's just basically tropical storm warnings, and right now we've got an update on this because tropical storm warnings now exist basically between Pascagoula, Mississippi and Destin, Florida. They've been canceled west of that. Small craft from west of Pascagoula, Atchafalaya Bay, and east of Destin to Cedar Key obviously should remain in port and let things calm down a bit, as they will do gradually over the next 24 to 36 hours. Joining me now at the update desk, our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons. Steve, we have watched George continually decrease in strength as the center is close to land or a little bit over land. Now the big problem continues to be rainfall. How much more can we expect?
Well, it's been a major rain producer. You're right there, and Rick, and I think we're probably going to see upwards of 6 or 7 more inches in some areas that have already gotten some, and 6 to 8 inches, maybe even 10 or 12 inches farther to the east where some of the people have not gotten anything yet, especially to the northeast of the center. That's where most of the rain is occurring right now.
Well, the slow movement of the tropical storm will certainly aggravate the amount of rainfall. Do you see anything here on the satellite picture, any feature that will help move George along and decrease those rain amounts?
Well, right now we've got upper level westerly flow that's coming in here, and that's helping drift it to the east at about 7 or 8 miles per hour. The surface flow is still stuck between a ridge of high pressure here and a ridge of high pressure over here, and it's not doing much. So it's drifting to the east, east-northeast with the mid and upper level flow of westerlies. Okay,
I think we're going to go to our precipitation totals and check these out. Munson, Florida, which is in Santa Rosa County between Crestview and Pensacola, 25 inches of rain, and there are Doppler radar estimates of over 30 inches of rain with George so far. Bay Minette, Alabama, official total now near 15 inches. Crestview, Florida, too. And of course, it's been just an absolute soaker in Pensacola, Mobile, and even Montgomery, Alabama, over 4.5 inches of rainfall. And this Doppler estimate, Steve, shows a pretty good picture of the progress of the main rain bands with George.
It sure does. The circulation center's just on the northwest corner of Mobile Bay now, but almost all of the precipitation is occurring to the east over here. And you can see, this is a time lapse, you can see this area in here where we've already had a huge amount of rain is continuing to get even more rain. Just south of Montgomery up in here, we still have a lot of rain, and the primary feature is this one right here, this big band of heavy rain. It's associated with westerly winds here and south-southeasterly winds here converging in this band, and it's going to slowly but surely propagate to the east at about 7 or 8 miles an hour. Right now it's very close to Fort Walton Beach, and we could see some tornadic activity in there.
What are the rainfall rates in here? Are we talking 2 or 3 inches per hour perhaps?
Yeah, and some of the heavier cells it could be as much as 4 inches per hour, although it is moving to the east, so we would expect more of a 1 to 3 inch per hour range typically in the vicinity of the area.
All right, and the major city of Montgomery, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia being affected. How about Atlanta? Do you anticipate the heavy rain reaching North Georgia?
Well, right now we're seeing primarily a big plume of high cloud blowing off to the northeast in those westerlies, and they're getting a lot of mid-cloud. Dew points are way up in Atlanta. Light rain precip as I came in early this morning, so the streets are wet. Be very careful if you're driving there. But it's going to be a little bit while longer, and we expect the system to weaken significantly before we get any major rain.
Okay, there are Flash flood and flood watches in effect. There are warnings too, and in addition, the severe weather has been popping up this morning. We'll talk more about that in a second. And of course, the rainfall amounts, in addition to what has already fallen, will be at least 5 inches or more. And Steve, that may be on the low side, probably.
That is correct, especially down here, Rick, near the coast where there's a lot of moisture. There is a pretty good bunch of rain down here in extreme southwestern Georgia, I should say. And then we expect that to spread to the east-northeast over south-central Georgia. And Atlanta may get the extreme northern edge of that branch of rain.
And there are intense thunderstorms in those spiral bands on the east and northeast side of Georgia. Right now, there is a new tornado warning just posted. Russell County in east central Alabama at 3:58 Central Time. A tornado was detected by Weather Service Doppler radar. So severe weather, Steve, continues to be a big threat. And not only have we experienced tornadoes indicated by radar, but actually observed on the ground in some cases this morning.
That's right, and keep in mind it's where the flow at the surface is out of the south and the flow aloft is out of the west where the tornado activity is most likely, which is in the northeastern section of the tropical cyclone.
Okay, Steve Lyons, our hurricane expert. We'll be back with frequent updates this morning on Tropical Storm George as it continues to decrease in strength but produce tremendous amounts of rainfall. Now let's head back to the studio and find out what else is going on across the country with Mark Mancuso.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. And this edition of this morning's weather and your forecast brought to you by Oldsmobile. And looking across the country, there is the threat for severe weather today. And in particular, we're keeping an eye on Missouri and Alabama and Georgia, as well as northwest Florida. Storms Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, continuing severe thunderstorm watches for parts of Missouri and Kansas, and tornado watches along the Gulf Coast. As we close into this area, severe thunderstorms continue to rumble southeastward at about 30 miles an hour, moving into the Nevada, Missouri area. Counties that are affected, St. Clair and Cedar counties. Large hail with these storms as they move southeast at about 30 miles an hour. Hail the size of nickels can be expected with these storms. As we take a look at temperatures, yesterday another hot day in Virginia and in North Carolina out ahead of that cold front pushing southward. And it was also pretty hot here in the southwestern states and on over to southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. Let's take a look at some of the numbers for you. And here's some of the cities that had record heat. Houston, Texas, 98 degrees, just unbelievable heat there. And moving our way to the east, Roanoke, Virginia, 92 degrees. Even in eastern North Carolina, Wilmington had a record high of 91. And to the north, Atlantic City, New Jersey, 84 degrees. Well, the cooling continues to spread into the northeast and midwest. Temperatures dropping from 5 to 20 degrees from what they were yesterday at this very time. So it's down to 54 now in Boston and 52 in Pittsburgh, but across the south still very mild. Here's a closer view of the northeast, and look at Elmira, New York. 38 degrees in the Finger Lakes region. Pretty chilly here. And even in the North Country, 42 degrees in Burlington. Big high pressure right overhead, responsible for all that nice, cool, dry air. On the west side of the high, though, mild, moist air moving northward through Minneapolis and Des Moines and Kansas City. And as we saw on the radar a second ago, clusters of showers and storms with severe weather near the swarm front in Missouri. And there go those severe storms into southwest Missouri. These storms packing a punch with gusty winds and heavy rains moving towards Waterloo, Iowa. In the south, a very mild morning again from Atlanta to Houston in the mid-70s. Of course, our tropical storm right here, and out ahead of it, the heavy rains. And we show you that on the radar. Rain pushing up into Birmingham and into Atlanta this morning. Checking on your forecast maps, high pressure means a beautiful day for the northeast. Southeast will see problems with rain from our tropical storm, and that front in the Midwest will spawn a few showers and storms. Stay with us. We'll take you traveling next, and of course, we'll keep you updated on Tropical Storm George.
This program was sponsored by Oldsmobile and your local Oldsmobile dealer.
Done. Looking forward.
on the storm watch, there's a few showers into the heartland, a chance for some thunderstorms there today. But the big story is George downgraded from a hurricane to a tropical storm that is producing a lot of rain into the south. Let's look at that on our tropical update. And we're looking at the activity that's taking place into the south from Tropical Storm George, where it's at 30.8 north and also at 88.1 west near Mobile, Alabama. Winds at 40 miles per hour. Moving really slow, rather slow at 8 miles per hour, and pressure at 993 millibars. And this tropical update or storm watch is sponsored by Walls. Here are the rainfall amounts from the storm so far, and there's still more rain to come. Munson, Florida, 25 inches of rain. Bay Minette, Alabama, near Mobile, 14.5 inches. And Crestview, Florida, 14 inches. So lots of rain from the storm. Some places are saying they're getting up to 35 inches of rain, and there's still more rain on the way. Flash flood warnings in effect for the Panhandle of Florida over to just around Lake City and Gainesville, for southwestern Georgia and for Alabama. We've had tornadic activity from the storm too into Alabama and Georgia overnight, and there could be more tornadic activity and some heavy thunderstorms and lots of rain. The satellite shows you can see the storm inland now, and still some bands of clouds out into the Gulf of Mexico with some gusty winds still here over the water, but things have calmed down. So winds are not the problem now. It's the rain and the tornadoes that could come out of this system. Cloud cover with it too is extending over Alabama and Georgia and pushing into the Carolinas and Tennessee with a large band of rain. And the rain moving rather slowly, one large band into the Gulf of Mexico. The showers feeding up into Alabama and into southwest Georgia, and bands of areas where we've had these tornadic cells and thunderstorms. Heavy rain along Interstate 65 into southern Alabama around Birmingham, Montgomery, and Selma, and showers up towards Birmingham along I-20 and Interstate 65 and over towards Anniston, Alabama, and light showers in the Atlanta area. Atlanta could see upwards to maybe 4 inches of rain before it's said and done over the next day or so. Closer view of Panama City shows the rainfall and our heavy bands of thunderstorms just west of Panama City, in between Panama City and Pensacola. Still moderate showers around Mobile, and that's still enough rain to cause problems because all the rainfall that Mobile has seen over the last day or so. But the heaviest rain just east of Evergreen and west of Dothan and Enterprise, Alabama. Dothan not seeing any rainfall right now, but you could see some more. Albany, some heavy thunderstorms and possible tornadic activity around Albany, Georgia, and Columbus, Georgia, seeing some heavy rain as we speak. Further up the pike into Alabama, you can see the heavy rain around Montgomery and also around Birmingham, and flooding is going to be really the big problem here. Some rivers are expected to be just numbers of feet over flood stage once this is all said and done. And because the storm is moving so slow, the rain is not going to leave anytime soon. So that's the really big problem with George. Now here's Hurricane Jeanne at 36.2 north, 34.4 west, or 480 miles west-southwest of the Azores. Winds are 90 miles per hour as moving towards the east-northeast at 21 miles per hour, and the pressure at 977. Looking back on the mainland, we do have the tornado watch area into southeastern Alabama, southwest Georgia, and into Florida from what's left of George, and also some severe thunderstorms into the heartland, into portions of central and southwest Missouri. You'll see the heaviest rainfall here into the Show Me State. Bands of showers into Iowa and also into Wisconsin, and heavy rain from Georgia into the southeast, and a few scattered showers into the west. A closer view of Missouri shows the rain pretty much parallel to I-44 with some heavy cells south of Columbia and into central Missouri, and also the heavier cells southeast of Des Moines and just northwest of Dubuque, Iowa, seeing some heavy rainfall, and a larger view showing the rain up also in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Stay tuned for Weather Center.
The threat of flooding expands in the southeast as George dumps more rain in many areas. An update on the storm and where it may head next on Weather Center.
I should have listened to my mother.
When you're lost, the accurate TL can help.
If you work outside for a living, you should know Walls makes clothes.